Incredible game he had. I mean, I think he would have beaten anyone on this kind of form as well. So this hasn't come as a surprise to me that Rafael Nadal is through to the semi-finals. He's playing like a man on a mission. I mean, he played like he had an appointment to catch up with. So he didn't have a lot of time to waste. And
Tony has been thinking about facing Roger Federer because his last 2 games he's played were just sportsman and it's so easy. And this guy, how many unforced errors? 43. Now you understand why he was so furious.
Yeah, but you have to understand this is his first quarterfinals at the U.S. Open of any Grand Slam event. You're playing against arguably one of the greatest players, one of the greatest of all time in Rafael Nadal. The mistakes crept in. Not surprised about that. He just couldn't handle the occasion, the pressure that came with the occasion on the day. But that's not taking anything away from his performance at the U.S. Open. That's another player. We always talk about the next gen. That's another player to watch out for in 2018. Andrei Rublev, alongside the likes of Denis Shapovalov. You also have Alexander Zverev, who's shown. Dominic Thiem as well too. Yeah, even though I wouldn't say he's next gen as well. He's a bit more experienced than them and has won quite a few titles. So the future of tennis on the ATP tour is very, very great. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next year. But after this particular match, Nadal, everyone anticipating, what's going to happen now. Are you looking forward to facing Roger Federer? And I had this to say, not knowing that that wasn't going to be the case.
He always has been a great ambassador for tennis and for our sport, with a good image, of course, and representing, I think, good values. What really makes this match special is we have been competing for the most important events for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. And we have been solid there fighting for these things. So we repeated this kind of match in important finals for a long time and a lot of times. So, of course, that's became a tradition, and at the same time is even more special when we are, of course, at the last part of our careers.
Okay, for record purposes, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, they've never met at the U.S. Open before. They've met 37 times in total. Never met at the U.S. Open, and this time around it was looking very likely until Juan Martín del Potro came to reign on their parade. And congratulations to Juan Martín del Potro for reigning on the parade successfully. And now we're talking about Martín del Potro against Rafael Nadal. That's another very, very
Rafael Nadal would just have to be careful.
He has to be. I mean, this guy is
playing. I don't know how he was able to do it. I mean,
right.
I just felt...
No, it was awesome. Yeah. I mean, Del Potro was awesome on the day. It was very powerful. I think he just basically overpowered Roger Federer on the night. And I struggled to see where that power play was going to come from after, the 5 sets I had to go through against Dominic Thiem. So all credit, all props goes to Del Potro for, pulling this one out of the back.
Yeah, definitely, because, Roger Federer said something after the game that, all through the game when he started, he was just depending on his opponent to make mistakes, and he would capitalize on that. And you don't go into a tournament, playing like that all through. He said he had that feeling at the Australian Open, he had it at Wimbledon, he didn't have it at French Open, but now he's having it here. So it simply means mentally and his body, everything just wasn't carrying it. That's why he started the 5 sets. The first 2 matches, the second and the third, okay, fine, he had a straight set. But the fourth, how long can you just depend, on luck to go through a tournament? So I think Federer wasn't really ready for the U.S. Open, so to speak, because
he's still going back to that.
Right. Federer we saw, the Federer we saw at the Australian Open, the Federer we saw at the French Open. That's why they didn't win it. Of course, the Federer we saw at Wimbledon is quite different from the Federer we saw at the U.S. Open. They didn't have those pre-warm-up games, the mistakes and all that, to understand and just get into it. He didn't have it at all. But give it to Juan Martín del Potro.
You have to give it to him.
His best.
You have to give it to him.
48 hours after 5 sets, 3
Right. And winning, I think it was quite convincing. The final set, which ended 6-1. And this image we just seen there is going to be very iconic. We've seen it twice now. We saw it against Dominic Thiem, looking into the Evans, and against Roger Federer. Now, who knows that we're going to see a repeat of that against Rafael Nadal when they clash in the semifinals. But for Roger Federer, disappointing end to his US Open campaign. He's won it 5 times. He hasn't won it for a long time. But you have to put things into perspective. He's had a great year. He's very disappointed, and but it is what it is. Let's take his post-match reaction now.
Yeah, I missed too many balls to keep me maybe ahead in the schedule, ahead in the match, or didn't put me into so much trouble where I needed luck or I needed him to take poor decisions. But you know, he came up with the goods when it needed to, and I helped him a little bit sometimes maybe, but you know, he was better today, especially in the big points. I honestly was only thinking about tonight. My head didn't even wander during the match. I knew it was going to be a tough one. I had struggled too much throughout the tournament, you know, to think too far ahead. In some ways, I'm actually happy I made the quarters. So I'm not that disappointed because it's been a good run this year already. And, you know, unfortunately, I ran into guys. It was better on the day. I don't want to say I was in a negative mindset, but I knew going in that I'm not in a safe place, you know. Might have to depend too much on my opponent. And I don't like that feeling. And I had it, you know, throughout the tournament, and I just felt that way every single match I went into. I didn't have that feeling at Wimbledon or at the Australian Open, and that's why, rightfully so, I'm out of this tournament, because I wasn't good enough in my mind, in my body, and in my game to overcome these three pillars. If you're missing all three, it's going to be tough, you know. So.
Yes, Roger Federer there, understandably not very happy with the outcome of that match against Juan Martín del Potro. But that's it now. We need to just quickly run through some of the fixtures, the semi-final pairings that are complete now for the US Open. In the women's singles, we're going to have Venus Williams taking on Sloane Stephens. Cecilia, we talked about that yesterday. You also have the other matchup is between Coco Vandeweghe and Madsen Keys. While in the men's singles, you have Rafael Nadal taking on Juan Martín del Potro. That's going to be a cracker. And Kevin Anderson, Kevin Anderson taking on Pablo Carreño Busta. Kevin Anderson has a very good chance of getting to the Grand Slam final. That would be incredible.
The first time in his career.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
From Africa.
But whatever happens, I think the favorite for the title is going to be whoever excelled between
Nadal
and Juan Martín del Potro.
Absolutely. So I said it at the start of the season then. It's going to be two apiece. 2 for Federer, 2 for Nadal. So okay, I'm not changing my mind now. Let's go on a break now. When we'll come back, we'll be talking basketball.